Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Branded Dude, and today guys I have another branded replay. We are going up against it's branded going up against Maliss Bystial. We're still playing the same 60 card branded, the same deck that I played at the locals. If you haven't seen that video, the link will be up in the screen somewhere around here. So do check out that deck profile video guys. But anyways, let's hop straight into the video. In the rock, paper, scissors, my opponent won and he chose to go first. In our opening hands, we open High Spirits, Droplet, Cartesia, Red, and another Cartesia. So we have Droplets and High Spirits and Branded in red, but we're going to need to find a way to get access to Branded Fusion. Opponent opens Dormouse, Chessy Cat, Malice in Underground, another Chessy Cat, and Serenia. So just remember guys, we are going up against Maliss Bystial, so my opponent was playing a heavy Bystial count. Anyways, my opponent starts with Chessy Cat's effect, banishing the Dormouse. He draws into Metatronus and GWCO6. Dormouse here will banish White Rabbit, and White Rabbit will be able to set him the TB11. He links into Decoder, then Hot Scripter. Here, I was a bit surprised that my opponent went into Hot Scripter straight away. I was expecting Red Ransom, but he is playing Maliss Bystial's heavy Bystial count, so I don't know. Anyways, he goes into Hot Scripter, and then Decoder's effect will reborn itself. On res, he goes TB11, where he's going to banish Hot Scripter to summon Chessy Cat, or another copy of Chessy Cat from his deck, which, yeah, I mean, I guess he didn't really need any specific monster to summon, so it's fine, he got a body. Hot Scripter will reborn itself. He then links into White Binder. White Binder here will trigger, and he ends up banishing Chessy Cat only, because Chessy Cat will trigger to reborn. And he finally goes, White Binder will first set back the TB11, and he will then link off into the link for Topologic Bomber Dragon. I was expecting Terahertz here guys, but my opponent was not playing the Terahertz at all. Well, throughout this game he didn't bring it out, so I don't know if he had it, but the link for he played is the Topologic Bomber Dragon. If you guys don't know what this does, if a monster is special summoned to a zone any link monster points to, while this card is on the field, he can basically Raigeki all monsters in the main monster zone. It's not a once per turn effect as well. So yeah, it's basically a Raigeki. So he sets the GWCO6 and he sets Metatronus. Metatronus here, I remember back at the recent locals that I attended, one of the Raigioh Fiendsman players, he was playing Metatronus in his side deck, but this mouse player is main decking Metatronus. So I guess the reason why is because they are, I guess this card could bring out Bystials because he is on a heavy Bystial count. Possibly if this card would go really well in a mirror match as well, because, he can just summon Chessy Cat, Dormouse, or White Rabbit from his deck. I'm not sure, maybe, possibly, this is technically a negate, gets him a free body as well. So I guess he's playing this in place of Imperm. I'm not sure, he wasn't, in this game I didn't see an Imperm at all, but he passes turn, so we have the Bomber Dragon, we have GWCO6, Metatronus, TB11, White Binder, and Hot Scripter. White Rabbit here can also set MTPO7 during our turn, so he has ways to set up quite a number of further interruptions. He passes turn and we draw into Aluba, which is a good draw. Now we have access to Branded Fusion. So we start off with normal summon Aluba because unfortunately we don't. Sure, I could have went High Spirits, sending Cartesia and Grand Gugno to add Albion the Shrouded. Albion could dump Albaz, that's where I could summon Cartesia, but decided, we have Droplets, so we have a way to, get Branded Fusion without Aluba being negated. So, Luba effect resolves, we search Branded Fusion. Here I decide to go straight for Branded Fusion. I don't want to waste materials in my hand trying to get Cartesia on the field. I decide, if he has Ash, he has Ash, cool, and that way we can just see how we play after that. But luckily for us, my opponent did not have Ash, so Branded Fusion will resolve. Here I decided I'm not going for Albion the Branded because I assumed he most probably had a Bystial in his hand. So if I sent Bystial, Lubellion, and Albaz could end up being banished by a Bystial monster, which would leave us in a difficult position because now we will have to banish Cartesia and a Light or Dark. And who knows where we go from there, because I was planning on going straight for Mirror Jade, right? So I decided I'm sending Albaz and Tragedy into Lubellion. On res, it will be Chainlink 1 Lubellion, discarding a Cartesia. We keep High Spirits in our hand, that's why if we need to search a Albaz related card, we can. And Chainlink 2 Tragedy to search. Here we were most probably going to search Ad Libitum, obviously, because we did normal summon. Opponent goes Chain Link 3 Metatronus targeting Lubellians. So I'm not sure what exactly he could summon here, because he needs to summon a monster from his hand, deck, or extra deck that either has 2 or more of the same type, attribute, or attack, right? So I don't know what he could have went for this. I'm not exactly sure, because this Lubellian is a light dragon with 2500 attack. Possibly he could have summoned a Bystial, a body on the field, I guess. But the whole point is Lubellian here could end up being negated. So we're going to respond with Droplets, sending the Lubellian. And my opponent has no response, so we negate his link. We search Ad Libitum of Tragedy, and we'll shuffle back Albaz and Lubellian to go straight for Mirror Jade. Obviously, you know, I was just trying to play around Bystials as well. Plus, also, we know GWC06 is an issue, and TB11 is not really an issue. It's just going to summon a body on his field, but he could possibly summon a link monster from his extra deck if we have 3 or more cards on the field. I'm not sure. Red Ransom could enter the field, but remember, TB11 will negate that monster's effect for the rest of this turn if that card remains on the field, right? So, you know, I'm not sure. I don't know how many Maliss monsters he plays in his extra deck. So, you know, we go straight for Mirror Jade. That's where we can clear up his board quite a bit. On res, we go, opponent does nothing on summon, so in the open game set, we go Mirror Jade effect, banishing his link monster. We then go branded in red, attempting to go for Chimera. Target here would be Tragedy, but unfortunately, branded in red, we is met with a Bestial Serenia in my opponent's hand, which was very unfortunate, targeting Tragedy, so we lose target, and branded in red does not resolve. We then enter battle phase because we have no further plays. I do have Brandon High Spirits, but I decided let me hold on to it because I was hoping my opponent would activate his traps, you know, to summon White Binder, and all those effects would activate. We enter battle phase, attack Serenia with Mirror Jade for 500. Serenia effect will send Lubellian, and we attack for 1-8. Well, we declare an attack with a Luba. Here my opponent activates GWC06. I decide to chain High Spirits here because one, there's a good obviously my opponent is going to summon White Binder, then White Binder will trigger to banish other Maliss monster, Hot Scriptor, and when Hot Scriptor resolves on summoning itself, Grand Gugno can trigger to reborn. So, you know, that's why I decided, let me use High Spirits now. Maybe I could have waited for White Binder first to trigger its effect to banish, because right now Grand Gugno can be banished. So this was a misplay here. I should have done it first. Chained High Spirits first to when White Binder triggers effect to banish cards. That would have been the best play here. But you know why I'm doing this now. I just should have activated this a bit later. Actually, no, I'm lying to you. Even though we're going this route, we go High Spirits because when White Binder summons itself, we searched Mercuria of High Spirits. So White Binder effect to banish, we're going to negate with Mercuria, so my opponent doesn't get any, you know, further bodies or interruptions or follow-up, whatever the case is. So on res, it's Chainlink 1 White Binder, and here we immediately go Chainlink 2 Mercury, negating that, so no more Maliss bodies entering the field. Fortunately, Aluba is too weak to get over White Binder, so we have to go to main phase 2. We end up going to end phase. End phase, Cartesia effect out to hand, and now off Titan's effect. Obviously, it was unfortunate for me. Yes, guys, my English. It was unfortunate that we already used Lubellian's effect to fusion summon. So, because remember, all the Maliss monsters are dark. So, if this was light, I was going to summon Albaz, fuse this away into Albion, the branded, you know, fusion summon into more monsters. But this was a dark, and unfortunately, we already used Lubellian's effect to fusion. So, I had to summon Quem from my deck. Quem effect here will dump a card. Here we dump Retribution. That's why we were able to add back Branded Fusion if it ends up being banished by White Binder. Sorry guys, I don't know what's wrong with my words here. Fortunately, we have no further play, so we pass turn, but in the end phase my opponent goes TB11, and since we have 3 bodies on the field, or 3 cards on the field that we control, my opponent can summon from the extra deck. Summons Red Ransom. Red Ransom cannot trigger its effect this turn because of TB11, but since a monster left the extra deck, we go Quem, targeting Cartesia. That way, boom, we have a way to fusion summon now during our opponent's turn. Still, no further plays. We pass turn. My opponent draws into a Bystial, which is annoying. The Bystials are so annoying. In main phase, my opponent goes White Binder to set a trap. I decide let this resolve. I won't use Cartesia yet. My opponent sets GWC06, which is a troublesome card, honestly, for us. Furthermore, my opponent decides to go GWCO6, banishing White Binder. Here I decide to go Cartesia because he's most probably going to summon Hot Scripter from his graveyard. Hot Scripter is a non-target banish, so I decide, okay, let's use Cartesia now. We send Mirror Jade and Adlib to go into Dragos Depelia, and my opponent reborns Hot Scripter. On res, Chainlink 1 White Binder, we go Chainlink to Adlib, targeting Mirror Jade to reborn, and Quem Effect targeting Mercuria. Here, my opponent, now he goes Chainlink 1, 2, 3. He goes Chainlink for Serenia, targeting Mercuria. I don't know why he didn't go for Mirror Jade. I guess, I don't know. If he went for Mirror Jade, that would have been a better play for him. But anyways, he targets Mercuria, so now we don't have that monster negate. Mirror Jade is reborn, and White Binder comes back, and he draws a card. He draws into Terraforming. Cool. On res, Chainlink 1, White Binder, attempting to banish 3 cards. He targets White Rabbit, GWCO6, and I think he targets Grand Gugno. Yeah. On our side is Chainlink 2 Grand Gugno, because remember White Binder summons itself as well as Serenia. So Chainlink 2 Grand Gugno and Chainlink 3 Mercuria to get a search. We search kits just for follow-up and able to recycle branded spells and traps the next turn. And off Grand Gugno we summon Quiritus, because remember I am only playing one Quem in this build. So White Rabbit triggers its effect when banished, summons itself, effect will trigger as well to set a trap. Here I was contemplating on whether I should use Dragos Depelia, but it wouldn't matter because Hot Scripter can just banish White Rabbit to dodge that negate of Dragos Depelia. So we let it resolve. My opponent then ends up setting MTP07. Opponent goes Hot Scripter effect. Now we go Chainlink to Mirror Jade because the Hot Scripter is a non-target banish. So I don't know what he's going to banish. So we just go Chainlink to Mirror Jade, sending Albion. Here I believe my opponent doesn't chain anything. So we go Dragos Depelia, forcing MTP07 to activate, which he does chain. So Hot Scripter is dodging Dragos Depelia. He ends up banishing Quiritus. Mirror Jade will banish White Binder because the White Binder already used its effect when banished, so that way it's not coming back this turn. Hot Scripter here that's Quiritus. I forgot that Cryptor needs to resolve its effect, but Hot Scripter will banish the Luba. Now on res it's Chainlink 1 Hot Scripter and Chainlink 2 Quiritus. We summon Albaz of Quiritus because remember I'm only playing one copy of Guiding Quem, and summoning Albaz allows us to break our opponent's board a bit further. So on res new chain we go Chainlink 1 Albaz, sending Cartesia. We fuse away his Hot Scripter because it uses banish effect, so that's why it's most probably never going to come back this turn. Into Lubellion, discarding the kits. Unfortunately, I was thinking of going Chainlink 1 Albaz, then Chainlink 2 Retribution to add another spell and trap to discard for Lubellion, but I decided, let me just leave Retribution in the graveyard. That's why, we have access to Blind Fusion. Maybe I could have done that, maybe I should have, but I decided, it's cool, it's fine. We can discard kit. Off Lubellion, we shuffle back Albaz Lubellion into Albion. Albion will trigger to Fusion Summon, and we banish our Titan and Albion Engraved to go into Furious. That way we can just reduce cards on our opponent's field or bodies on the field, because he most probably was going to try go for access code, so that's why I kept Furious. We kept it in defense because Red Ransom swaps the attack and defense of our monsters, so we kept it in defense. Also because of talents, talents to take, then he has more monsters to attack with. Opponent normal summons Chessy Cat, then he activates Terraforming, searching a copy of his field spell. He then uses Chessy Cat. Obviously I could have popped Chessy Cat, but remember if he has the field spell he can just banish it, then Chessy Cat will come back, so there's no point. Banishes Dormouse and he draws into 2 Bystials. My word, guys, this is ridiculous. Forget Ash, the Bystials are even worse. So Dormouse here will trigger to reborn itself. He links into Linguribo because he's I knew he was going for SP. Summons SP effect, targeting Furious to banish. So now, since SP used its on summon banish effect, my opponent cannot attack me directly, so I was confident that we were going to survive a turn. We Chainlink 1 SP, we go Chainlink 2 Furious, targeting our Albion and his Red Ransom. Opponent attempts to go SP Chainlink 3, temporarily going to banish Albion, the branded, and SP itself, which resolves, but Furious obviously will still pop and it gets banished still. Opponent then tributes Serenia to summon Lubellion, and then Serenia here will mill Magnum Hut. Rebellion to place regained. He then goes, Bowdrake, targeting Chessicat. Chessicat will trigger to summon itself. So now he's going to have 4 bodies on the field. He then links off into, I think, access code right away. No, into Dark. And then Dark Effect here will reborn the kit. And then only he goes for access code. Access code here will gain 3000 attack. So it is at 35. Wait, did he use its effect? No, he didn't really. He didn't use its effect. Damn, I did not pay attention to that. Anyways, he uses access code effect, banishing Red Ransom, destroying Dragus Tupelia. Unfortunately, we don't have branded opening to protect, but on res, because the dark monster was banished, regained will shuffle back Red Ransom, and he draws into GWCO6. So you see, guys, he shuffled it back off Heart Scriptor and he drew into it. So that was a good draw for him, because White Binder was not going to come back onto the field. So I was really hoping that he would not be able to get GWC6 back on the field. But unfortunately, he drew into it, which obviously I wouldn't know, which was very unfortunate. If he didn't draw into GWC6, I think we would have been in a good position. Anyways, he enters battle phase, destroys Quim and Cartesia, and he sets a card. Here I was hoping that it was an Imperm. I assumed it wasn't going to be GWC06, but unfortunately it was, and that was a really good draw for him. End phase, SP effect will resolve, where we bring back our banished monsters. End phase, I'll go Cartesia to add to hand, and I think a High Spirits as well to add itself to hand. We don't go Retribution effect here, not at all, but I guess I should have used Retribution effect that way, because if I use Retribution during my turn, SP will trigger to basically temporarily banish monsters on the field. So I think it was best for me to use Retribution now, or it doesn't really matter, because even if I go Retribution now, then in my turn, let's say I added back Brand of Fusion, go Brand of Fusion, he's obviously going to chain SP to banish monsters or materials on my field. So I guess it really doesn't matter at this point. So we don't use Retribution, we draw for turn. We draw Mag, which is a good draw. That's where we have sort of an interruption, because regained is on my opponent's field. In main phase, I decide not to use High Spirits because, one, remember guys, I am only playing 1 copy of Grand Gugno. So this is where I realized, if I had a second copy of Grand Gugno, High Spirits could be good. Sure, I do have Bystial Magnemite, but both of my Albions, the Branded Dragon and Titans, are either banished or on the field. So I didn't have a valid target for a dragon using High Spirit. So I decided we will normal summon. I think we should change Albion to Branded to attack. We normal summon Cartesia, which then my opponent triggers regain to summon Mag, but we go chain link to our Mag, banishing his Magnemite. So that's why he doesn't get to recycle or add further dragons in his end phase. Since he has no response to that, I do go Retribution, targeting Branded in red. Now here I wasn't sure. I was contemplating whether I should add Brand Fusion, but I wasn't sure if my opponent was even playing Ash. Sure, he didn't use Ash in my first turn or second turn, so he did draw a lot of cards during his turn, so I wasn't sure if he had Ash Blossom in his hand. So I decided, let me go for Branded in red. But in hindsight, I should have just went for Branded Fusion, because at the end of the game I realized my opponent is not playing Ash Blossom at all. No Ash, so Branded Fusion would have been a better option here. So unfortunately, it is what it is. We add Branded in red to hand, and we summon Mag. Chainlink 1 Magnum Hut. Opponent, he doesn't go Chainlink 2 Regained yet, but he goes Chainlink 2 SP, targeting itself and Mag. Now here, I was contemplating whether I should use Cartesia to Fusion Summon. I could have went into Mud Dragon using Albion the Branded and the Magnum Hut. Actually, no, I couldn't, sorry. I could have went into Mag, because remember, SP can only banish itself if the other target also ends up being banished, or basically if none of the targets are lost, right? So I wanted SP to stay on the field, because that way I can deal a lot more damage to my opponent. So I was contemplating on finding a way to make SP lose a target, either itself or Magnemite. So I decided to go Chainlink 3 Branded in red, targeting ad libitum, but my opponent unfortunately had another Bystial in his hand, which was so annoying. This is where I decided, Brand of Fusion would have been a way better option to add, only because I was afraid of Ash. I decided maybe let's go for Brand Red, but nope, doesn't matter. I should have went for Brand of Fusion instead, because that Bystial monster, Serenia, the Bystials, is screwing up our play. So anyways, we lose target of red, and SP will resolve, banishing Mag. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, anyways, on rares we go regained. He targets our Bystial mag. That's where we don't get to bring it back to our field and end phase, and he draws into a card. He draws into another Bystial. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, bro. How many Bystials is this guy playing? Anyways, we enter battle phase. We attempt to enter battle phase because Cartesia doesn't really have another good target to fusion into that will help us. We don't play a second copy of Grand Gugno, unfortunately. So in battle phase, we go Albion, the Branded, declaring attack on Boldrake. I want to crash so my fusion can go to the graveyard. But then my opponent activates the set, which happens to be GWC06. And this is where I realized, crap, that's the card he drew. That is unfortunate. So my opponent is in a better position right now because all his Maliss monsters are going to trigger and he's going to be able to break my board. Anyways, White Binder on summon effect, targeting our Cartesia, Empty PO7 and Hot Scriptor, which will resolve. And then Hot Scriptor will trigger to summon itself. He then goes Hot Scriptor, targeting his Empty PO7, and he banishes my Albion the Branded. Unfortunately, I'm out of other branded monsters. The only cards I have left is Rinbrim, a Merjade, and a Lebellion. And I decide, this is a losing position for me, so I decide to scoop. Because, this man, Merjade, sure, I have a banish, but my man is going to be able to have so much follow-up, so we scoop. He takes the first win in game number 1. That was a grind, guys. Unfortunately, we end up losing that. Game number 2. We open Aluba, Fusion Duplication, Havness, Quem, and Fusion Deployment. So, Fusion Deployment, some Cartesia, Aluba can get a search. And if Branded Fusion gets Ash, remember, guys, I wasn't sure if my opponent was playing Ash. But, I believe he wasn't playing Ash at all in this build. He was just playing heavy Bystial package. But if Brand Fusion were to get ashed or negated, some way by Dominus Impulse, we have Fusion Duplication to Branded Fusion during our opponent's turn. Opponent opens MTPO7, Shifter, Serenia, Fuolos, and White Rabbit. So D-Shifter and Fuolos, and also a Bystial monsters as well. So, that's good interruption. In main phase, we go Fusion Deployment. I'm surprised my opponent didn't drop Fuolos here because he could have gotten a draw off it. But anyways, I guess he was just making sure that when I activate Branded Fusion, I'm committed to that fusion. So then only would he drop Fuolos. But he should have dropped Fuolos here. Anyways, doesn't matter. We summon Cartesia, normal summon the Luba, effect, we search Branded Fusion. With Gucci, we go Branded Fusion, and then my opponent chains D-Shifter, and I'm like, crap. Okay, my monsters are getting banished, but not even that. He goes Chainlink to Fuolos, so now we're on the Shifter, and he's going to draw a card. So I was contemplating, crap, okay, what to end on, but it's fine. Because we're on the Shifter, if you watched my Branded combo video, you must know where exactly we're going with this, because we have Cartesia. So I'm going to let you guys guess what line we're going for. If you don't know, check that Branded combo video and you'll see where exactly we go with this. So we banish Albaz and Mercuria to go into Lebellion, the Searing Dragon. Chainlink 1, Lebellion. Here I decide to discard Havness because I only play one copy of Quem. So I decide, Havness can go. Because we're on the Shifter, it doesn't matter if Havness is in our hand. If we ever use it as material, it's just going to end up being banished, so let's get rid of it. I'm going to go Chainlink to Mercuria to get a search. With Mercuria, we search Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Opponent also gets a draw. Here he drew into Fuolos. We then shuffle back, Albaz and Mercuria to go into Rinbrim. Now here, opponent drew into Nibiru, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 summons here, luckily. Luckily, I did not decide to commit with Cartesia. 1, because I didn't want my opponent to draw more cards. And 2, I decided, Cartesia, we'll save Cartesia for my opponent's turn because we do have Fusion Duplication, which can summon Albaz as well. So, I decided, okay, let's not give him an extra draw. Who knows what he's going to draw into. Let's just sit on this. Cartesia can Fusion during our opponent's turn. And we have Fusion Duplication. Anyways, we set the card and we pass. Nothing in end phase, so my opponent draws return. He draws into GWC06. He goes to main phase. First, I don't use Cartesia because I was afraid he had Imperm, right? But he wasn't playing Imperm in his build. Doesn't matter, we assumed maybe he had Imperm. So we rather let him put a body or a card on the field so that way Cartesia cannot be Impermed. He normal summons White Rabbit effect to set TB11. On res though, not on res. He sets a card, which is MTPO7, and then he activates TB11, banishing White Rabbit in order to activate it. And here I decide to go Cartesia. to fusion away by banishing Lubellion and Albion the Shrouded to go into our Light and Dark Dragon Lord. That's our 3 Omni Negate. My opponent then ends up summoning Red Ransom because we have 3 or more cards on the field that we control, so he can summon from the extra deck. On res, he goes Chaining 1 White Rabbit, then Chaining 2 mandatory is Lad, negating White Rabbit. My opponent here decides to set GWCO6, which he activates and banishing Red Ransom, but we will negate that GWCO6 with Lad. My opponent then chains MTPO7, but he realizes he can't because he doesn't have a Maliss monster to banish, so he scoops. Luckily for us, Lad helped us there, managing us to win game number 2, and then we go to game number 3, the ultimate decider here, guys. Opening hands, we have Brand of Fusion, Eclipse, Bystial Lubellion, Albion the Shrouded, and Druiswim. So we have a Bestial monster to basically banish a card in our opponent's graveyard, but remember, in this game number 3, I did side in Harpies and 2 Lightning Storms, so I was not going to use Druiswim in the chance that I draw into either Lightning Storm, because then I want Lightning Storm to be live, and also I was afraid that my opponent would have Thrust or Talents, which he did. He did open Talents in his hand. He also opened Dormouse, Chessy Cat, Lubellion, and Nibiru. So, yeah. Anyways, the opponent starts off with normal summon Chessy Cat. Dormouse gets banished and he draws into the field spell and a Serenia. Man plays so much Bystials. It is so annoying. Anyways, he's starting his plays. White Rabbit here will set GWCO6. Links into Decoder, then into Heart's Crypta. Decoder summon itself. Lubellion effect, searching Mag. Mag will then banish, I think, White Rabbit. No, Chessy Cat, then Chessy Cat 1, Mag 2. He then summons Lubellion. Lubellion plays Regained. Banish, or links off into White Binder. Regained shuffles Decoder, and he draws into a Druiswim, which is so annoying. Man has 2 Bystials in his hand. Anyways, White Binder there did end up setting TB11 from his deck, and we know he has GWC. I think, do we know? Yeah, we knew that he has GWC as well set there. Anyways, he links off into Topo Logic Bomber Dragon, and he goes to end phase. End phase, he searches Boldrake. So this man has 3 Bystials and a Nibiru in his hand. Yo, I swear, these Bystials, yo, I hate it, honestly. They should stop touching my graveyard. Anyways, we draw for turn, we draw into Tragedy, which is a bit unfortunate because I was hoping to use Brand of Fusion to send Tragedy to the graveyard. So, unfortunately, it is in our hand. So, in main phase, I decide to go Lubellion effect, hoping to get a search. Opponent doesn't chain anything here, so we search Serenia. The reason why we search Serenia instead of Mag is that if Serenia goes to graveyard, we can use its effect to send a branded spell trap, or mainly branded Retribution. We then go Albion effect here, we send Retribution off that, and we draw into Branded in White. So which is good because we do have 2 dragons in our graveyard, so we have a way to fusion summon, but it would be better if we have Albaz or access to Albaz as well. Anyways, on res, we go Branded Fusion. No Ash, so this is where I knew, okay, my opponent's not playing Ash whatsoever. He's just playing Bystials, which makes it even worse for us. So, we go Brand Fusion. Remember, guys, we have Tragedy in our hands. So, unfortunately, we send Albaz and Sharon. I sent Sharon here. I could have went into Albion, the Branded Dragon, but I decided, you know, I want to force out Bystials. So, I'm sending Albaz and Sharon to go into Lubellion. Chainlink 1 Lubellion. I discard Tragedy, just so that if I end up using my Bystials, I can banish Tragedy to search a Lubo or Quem, because remember, we didn't normal summon yet, so let's just put that in the grave. And we go Chainlink to Sharon to also fusion summon, hoping to force out a Bestial monster. But opponent goes Chainlink 3 Regained as a trigger, targeting his Magnemite. We respond with Druiswim, targeting his Magnemite so he doesn't get Mag Search. Opponent then goes TB11. Here I was contemplating TB11 will allow him to special summon from his deck, and then here I decided, okay, I'm gonna go Serenia because I want to get Search of Tragedy to get my normal summon, right? Aluba, that's what I'm referring to. So we go Serenia targeting Tragedy. That resolves, no further chain. So we resolve Serenia banishing Tragedy. TB11 summons Chessy Cat. Magnemite banishes, Druiswim banishes Magnemite. Sharon here shuffles back Lubellion and itself to go into Predaplant. And we shuffle back both our well, we don't shuffle back Albaz. I decide to shuffle back Serenia and Druiswim to go into Furious. Here, yeah, I know. Maybe I played this line really wrong. But I was like, okay, if I leave Albaz in the graveyard, I have Brandon White to still perform a fusion summon. Bystial for monster negate, and Furious just to pop a card on the field. On rares we go Chainlink 1, what's the name? Tragedy, Chainlink 2, Topologic Bomber Dragon, because Chessy Cat was summoned to a zone it points to, so it will end up to Raigeki field. So we go Predaplant, Chainlink 3, negating Topologic Bomber Dragon. So we get the search, add a Luba to hand. We then normal summon a Luba. Here I could have searched Branded in red, but my opponent has Bystial, so it's like Branded in red is just not going to do anything. So we go straight for Branded Lost, hoping that Branded Lost does remain on the field. We activate Branded Lost. I was expecting my opponent to activate GWC06, summon White Binder banish Heart's Cryptid, and Heart's Cryptid will get on the field and basically end up banishing Branded Lost, but he doesn't chain the trap. So then we go Branded in white. Here my opponent doesn't do anything, so we banish Albaz and a Luba. Now here's the issue. The problem is that I thought I could search Albaz off Lost and normal summon it, but I already normal summoned Luba, and unfortunately Cartesia won't do us any good because it cannot summon itself. We already used Albria on the Shrouded, so Kit could have been an option, but we don't have another Albaz fusion monster on the field of grave. So basically I can't summon anything else or get a card that can help us break our opponent's board a bit further. Maybe instead of sending Albaz and Luba here, I was actually going for Caridas, okay? But instead of sending Albaz Luba to grave, maybe I should have sent Dragos to Pelia to go straight into Mirajade. Maybe I should have done that instead, but we go for Caritas. That's what I was hoping to basically deal a lot of damage to my opponent. On summon, it's Chainlink 1 Lost, since I perform a fusion summon, and since we're under the protection, I go Chainlink 2 Caritas and Chainlink 3 Furious, targeting itself. And he set card GWC06, so that's where he won't be able to activate it. Maybe with Furious I could have targeted Predaplant, but with Lubellion I sided out my regain, so basically Lubellion doesn't have anything to play, so may as well just pop Furious himself. That's why we keep a monster negate on the field. So anyways, that all resolves. The trap cannot be activated, so it gets destroyed. Caridas reduces the Chessy Cat and the link to 0 attack, and we search Kit because we have nothing better to search, so may as well just search a card to help recycle our cards. We then enter battle phase. The opponent doesn't use his bestial monsters just yet. We attack for a total of, how much is this? 5,700 attack? Yeah, 5,700 damage in total. Putting him low. If I could find a way to put Masquerade on the field, that would put us in a good position, but unfortunately I could not. We set Eclipse and we attempt to go to end phase. In the end phase, my opponent does go Beldrake, targeting White Binder. So here I knew, okay, he's going to summon White Binder, banish Heart's Cryptor. Heart's Cryptor must probably banish a card on our field. And he's basically going to either banish Eclipse. Sure, we do have Predaplants and Caridas, for the next turn to see how it goes, whether we survive. But, Talents is there. He has Malice Underground, 2 Bystials. Caridas could summon, if it ends up being banished, face up, or leaves the field by card effect face up. We could summon Albaz, fuse away, but, unfortunately here I had to also get going. But I think my opponent here stood a better chance winning. He didn't use access code yet, so no access code yet. Heart's Cryptor could basically boost its attack to 5,000. He has 2 Bystials in his hand, Talents to take. Obviously, he's going to use Talents to take at some point because I'm going to have to trigger one of these 2 effects. So, we were in a bad position. Heart's Cryptor could banish our face down Eclipse immediately. And it was GG's. We were in a losing position. I don't know how I would have played, guys. Maybe we could have stood a chance, but we have nothing in the graveyard to help. Sure, a Luba could summon itself as a body to protect us. But, I think we were in a losing position, and maybe things could have turned, maybe I'm just jumping straight to conclusions, but I also had to get going, and it was GG's, cool. But this is, unfortunately, we do end up losing game number 3. But guys, this was a good game. It was really good. It was nice. It was a grind game, very fun, interactive. Unfortunately, my opponent, he was playing so many Bystials. Jeez, Branded in red couldn't resolve. If Branded in red could resolve, I think that would have been so good for us. We would pop the field, reborn Mirajade. We would have been in a good position, but those Bystials were a pain in the ass to deal with. So unfortunately we end up losing this, and that is the game. It was well played, honestly, very fun. I enjoyed it. in this game, like I realized I am playing one Grand Gugno, one Quem. So in this game I did realize, maybe if I had a second copy of both, it would have been good. But I mean, it wasn't too drastic. I don't think it was something like I have to have, like it's a must that I should play both. But it did come up, like that second copy of Grand Gugno and second copy of Quem. If it were there, things could have been a lot different. Maybe a lot different, but different. That's how it is. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it, guys. And that is the video, guys. If you did enjoy this, please do like, comment, and subscribe. If you notice any misplays or any better plays I could have made, do let me know in the comments below. And GG's, good game. The Maliss player played it really well, and this was a fun game that I wanted to show you guys. But yeah, guys, that is the video. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.